Hi, this is Barbara, settling in. Good evening. It's March 20th. Here I go with the glasses. March 20th, 2026. I know it's the equinox. Is it spring yet? I know my birthday's Sunday. And I'm off schedule with this podcast, but we'll talk about that. So, yesterday, I left off telling you my history of being with mixed marriage parents, all the discrimination I encountered with a Italian last name, a Jewish heritage, passing for every other ethnic, as well as sharing with you a lot of discrimination that I've heard in many, many living rooms with many, many ethnics. So that's kind of where we left off. But what I didn't tell you was the blessing of not having a religion or being indoctrinated in any way, as much as it was disturbing to me because I didn't fit anywhere. And of course, you know, as kids, we want to fit somewhere. But it is the reason that I went on a major search for spirit and source and what is running this planet. And the question that I asked when I left New York, I mean, it's so funny to say this now, but the question I asked was, who am I? Now, that's such a basic question in all the spiritual books, but I didn't know. But I was really, walking around a lot in the Bronx, just contemplating my next moves. And that was the main question is, so who am I? Particularly after I had just had this marital separation. It was really, the question was also anger at God that, so this is what I get for loving this person and empowering this person and putting them through all the steps that they needed to make a better life, and in the agreement that it would be reciprocated, but it wasn't. So I was pissed at God. So is this what it is? You dedicate yourself to someone else, you hold them high, you uplift them, then you get your shot. And I didn't. And so it was essentially, who am I? And why bother? Like, pretty much, why bother being on this planet if this is what happens? So I was 26 at the time that I'm asking these questions. And I'm pooped. I just walked in and I want to keep this commitment. So yeah, the blessing of that is it made me really, really, really search everywhere with everyone and any teacher I could find. But it really sprouted out of who am I and why bother being here on this planet if this is the kind of stuff that happens. I didn't curse at the time, but I probably now would say, and so what's the shit about? It's just like, that's the new and updated version of Barbara. So it was perfect. God planned it perfectly. Give her 2 parents, 2 religions, make her look every ethnic. And something's happening on my phone. Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening. Oh, hello, Tom. Hello, Tom. Wow. Hi. I don't know how to let you in to comment, but so hang in, honey. So, yes, if it wasn't for being half Italian, half Jewish, passing for every ethnic, and then marrying and ending up in this situation where my commitment was not reciprocated, it was pretty much like, why bother being on the planet? What is this all about? And that was the beginning of the search. And so I wanted to finish that because that wasn't finished last night. and also still refining that I think my audience still are artists and very sensitive people, mostly women, young women. And I think it's hysterical that I can see Tom's name. I came across a great word today, and it helped me get even clearer. I was praying, like, I'm still praying, like, what is it? What is my algorithm? Where am I to be? And I know I'm not here for the masses. I'm here for a particular group of people that are on the planet right now. And I think it's the people, well, I know it's the people whose voices have been snuffed and silenced, and gifts have been gone to waste in disconnecting from themselves and disconnecting from spirit. So the other thing that I was forced into doing, particularly in this church thing I was telling you about for the last 15 years, is it just really forced me even deeper into depending on myself, that I had to totally depend on myself. Now, I've always depended on myself, but this was this was a spiritual dependence. And remember yesterday I was telling you, if you want to be a dismantler, you have to be willing to be hated, rejected, cast out, willing to even die if you're really going to go for being a change agent. And these last 15 years really wiped out, melted, burnt off any need for outer validation, outer anything. Not to say I don't want it. Of course I do. I'm human. Not to say I don't need it. Of course I do. I'm human. But push come to shove, I can go it alone. And in that, I can go in and out of any space, anywhere on the planet, and know that I'm okay. And on top of that, what I've really been focusing on with you guys is protection. That there are a lot of negative energies that have already knocked us out. And we don't want that anymore. We all have missions. Everyone that I am speaking to, everyone that I have asked to embrace, all have missions and purposes to bring forward. Of any gift that you have is not to be stuffed and silenced. So the word that came up today that I saw in a book was spiritual suffocation. And it fits my experience in the last 15 years. So, I have my little chart up there, which I'll go back to. But, so to those who are maybe just popping in, and like I said, I don't think these will be seen for 10 years because I'm not marketing and I'm not really doing too much to get it out there yet. But it's timeless. It's timeless. So I was really looking at what it is that I have to offer you. Like, what are my gifts that I'm laying on the table for you to take? And I realized that as someone who watched my blue-collar worker parents, my inner city students and their parents, and many congregants in churches, particularly this last one, and many artists seem to be, I'll add one more, people who have been really hurt by their churches and knew there was something not right. I'm stuttering tonight, forgive me. Knew there was something not right and abandoned the church. And in abandoning the church, a lot of people, they kind of abandon God too. And that's so sad that this regime, I call them regimes, caused many people to disconnect from source. So in addition to my parents, to my inner city kids, to the congregants in churches, to many, many artists that are very sensitive, that have gotten disconnected from source, from God. And I feel like I have been trained to connect myself to Source in very deep ways. And really walking the streets of LA, seeing how many people are disconnected from Source, from themselves. And every person in every situation I've been talking about in kind of a negative mode, maybe condescending mode, upset mode, including my ex, including my church, these people are disconnected from spirit. Don't think that just because people go to church, no matter how high they claim to be, many of them are not connected to Source. And that's where you get the special cases, the people who are holier than thou, they're better than everybody else. That's not representative of being connected with Source and God, that preaches loving and equality, and we're to take care of each other. So that's what I see myself doing, is helping you guys reconnect with Source in a very deep way with many, many tools. And the part that I was missing, as I've told you many times, is I didn't know to protect that gold. That relationship with spirit, with Source, with creation is your golden nugget in life. I've got hair in my eyes. Sorry. So, yes, tonight we're going to talk about spiritual suffocation. How's that for a topic? So before I do, I will call in the light. I'm going to try to call them in earlier. And I'm going to kind of favor the Science of Mind prayer. And I need to breathe. So, Father, Mother God, just now we close our eyelids. And we relax. And we breathe in. And we just take another deep breath in. And just now, we come present in this moment. We release the past. We release the future. And we just sit right here in this state of consciousness, wherever we are, however we feel, whatever we're thinking. And Lord, I ask just now for all of us for a deeper dive, a deeper connection with the Source, with God and creation. And Lord, I ask that the evidence of that intimate connection be outpictured in our willingness to be heard, to be seen, and to express ourselves fully. And with your power, and with your intelligence, and with your presence, and with your protection from any naysayers and jealousy and envy and all that stuff. With your protection, we can stand up fully in who we are. And so finally, I ask for all of us that we be blessed to discover our gifts if we haven't yet, to renew our relationship with our gifts, of which we all have many, and that you start to bring them alive in us. And that we may even choose to get on the Passion Project train. I'll call it the Passion Project train. We're going to really pick up on Sunday. And so God, source, we give thanks for all the blessings we already have. We give thanks for all the lessons that we have learned, for all the endurance, for all the perseverance, for all the courage and all the strength that we have already demonstrated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God. Amen. And so it is. Okay, I'm more in alignment. I should have done that first. And once again, my little things. I think this weekend I have to get somewhere to get a real deal microphone. I think I told you about the $400 Michael Jackson microphone from Thriller. I think it was $450, which I will not be getting yet. Okay, so before I turn around to the pad, why I was so taken with the term spiritual suffocation. Forgive me, I have a hair somewhere in here. I've been telling you about my hurt and pain with my church and the circumstances. And here I go. There's the mirror. You have to try this, guys. You really have to try this. So, spiritual suffocation, the way I interpret it, is being disconnected from source. The reason being, hold it, we are disorganized tonight. Okay. I think I told you guys I leave every day to get out of this building, and when I come home, I'm just exhausted from whatever I do out there. So my concern has been that there's not a whole lot of permission in many of these churches to breathe, to fully breathe and be who you are, and to fully express who you are and who we are. And I'm reading my chart. The ugly cry. Do you feel safe doing the ugly cry when you go to your church? Do you feel safe being vulnerable? Do you feel safe telling your truth? Now, I've already shared with you my experience of being stuffed and snuffed and cast out and rejected, really without even saying anything, just my presence. So many of you have such bright, bright lights. And what is that scripture? To not hide your flame or your candle under the bushel. It's supposed to be out there shining. And so a lot of us have experienced spiritual paths that talk a lot about love and light, fluff, a whole lot of fluff, just fluff, and a lot of toxic positivity. That if you don't have anything really positive and wonderful and good to say, they really don't want to hear it, particularly the leaders. They don't know how to handle it. They haven't had the experience to facilitate it because they haven't been through it themselves. So they tend to shut us down in some sophisticated, holy manner. But so I wrote down that there's a lot of shaming. There's a lot of guilt trips, feeling guilty if you really fully, outwardly breathe and tell your truth. And I'm not talking about disrespect. I am speaking about a respectful sharing that is not too pretty and also scares people who live in a much higher economic space or a social space and judge. And shamed, guilted, and silenced. So that to me would be spiritual suffocation, where you have to stay in this little box and they pretend that you are free in this little box. Hear that again. They pretend and facilitate you as if you are free to express fully when really you are in this little box. And if you hit one of these boundaries, up here or down here, if you bump into one of these boundaries, the scorn comes in, the shame comes in, the humiliation comes in. That's not what the church is about. And I won't go on my Jesus thing right now. I won't go on my Christian thing right now. But I do want to point out the term spiritual suffocation is such a great word to explain not being able to fully be yourself honestly, authentically, and truthfully in these spiritual settings. Except maybe a 4-day retreat. And once it's over, once that retreat is over and you expand and you expand and expand, if you take the next one and you go higher and higher and higher, the box gets smaller and smaller and smaller instead of bigger and bigger and bigger. And many people, I've met people in the churches I've been in, the temples I've been in, who just were so discouraged as a child, being forced to go to church on Sundays because they knew something wasn't right. Their intuition was right. There was something not right about what was going on. And when they could get out from under their parents, they left the church. But the sad thing is, in leaving the church, many don't continue on the path to develop a relationship with spirit on their own. And I was saying to you yesterday that what saved me in the last 15 years of all the homeless craziness, disability, the only thing that saved me was just going deeper and deeper and having an intimate relationship with God. For everything. It was like, where do I go? Where do I walk? Where am I staying tonight? And it's not like the answers just came in. Oh, go here. Oh, go there. Oh, do this or do that. No, I really thought he wasn't even with me, to be honest. It's only now in hindsight that I'm looking back and going, oh my God, I had a team. I had an invisible team holding me up, literally. So I'm not falling on my walker and putting those people out of my mind and just keeping my sanity and keeping my emotional balance. So I am going to flip over to the chart just to give you a better sense. And I'm hoarse, I can tell. So let me do that. Hold it. I've got to switch you guys. Camera up. Okay, so let me just switch over. Get my little walker here. Okay, I have my little setup. Okie dokie. Oh, so hello everybody, here I am. So this is the chart, and let me use my pointer. Okay, so here we go. So I wrote spiritual suffocation with a sad face. And I have the little box that these places tend to put us in. Okay. And when you live in this box, you are disconnected from source. Being in this box keeps us disconnected from source. We're not made to be contracted. We're made to be expansive. And when a, quote, regime or matrix keeps us disconnected from source, the way they do it is to shame you, make you feel guilty, and to silence you. And usually what they silence are your gifts. I know the only time I have gotten silenced is when they knew I was about to say something brilliant. Because they knew me. They knew that when I spoke, it was potent. Because I don't speak a lot. So basically, they love to stay in the fluff area. And this could be employment. This can be in your family. This could be in your marriage. You know, just talk about fluff, 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 and you're safe. And then there's stay positive, stay positive, stay positive, no matter what. And that's now a term called toxic positivity, where you don't acknowledge the emotions that are a little grayer, sadder, and darker. And then you must continue to focus on love and light, love and light, love and light. So you have fluff, toxic positivity, love and light is the way that we are kept from connecting with source and being shamed, guilted, silenced. I should have put humiliated. I should put that later. Wait, I'm going to put an H for now. H. Okay. What the opposite of that would be to be fully not disconnected, to be fully connected with God would be to be telling the truth, what your truth is. I am not feeling well today. I feel depressed. I'm stuttering today. Forgive me. Life isn't going too good right now. That would be the truth. Or I'm doing great. Then there's the ugly cry. Not when you're just crying, but you are crying. You know, the tears are going, the nose is going, the snot's coming out of the nose, the eyes are red, the eyeballs are popping out. That would be the ugly cry. And then sharing, stop this fluff. You know, we need to start being authentic and real. And I'll say this on the other side. I'll just go to this. I mean, this was yesterday when I was telling you to let love lead you out of a circumstance. And I was telling you about my ex, leaving my job, leaving my apartment, leaving my possessions, leaving New York, leaving friends, leaving family, and expecting to run into Fred and Ginger in LA, but they weren't here. And should we do anything else with that? No, that's that for now. So let's just go back to spiritual suffocation. I'm coming back. Okay. So let's see. Closing this, and there we go. So while I'm sitting here, I just want to focus on that box a little bit more. I am only realizing now, to be honest, as upset as I have been, I am definitely doing this podcast. I'm definitely being a participant because I had a dream last night with my ex, and his sister and her husband. And it was so real. We were on some trip together, and we haven't talked about dreams yet, but I've gotten lazy in documenting my dreams. I used to write them down. When I was really younger, I would wake myself up and write them down, but I'm too old for that. So this morning, I remember consciously playing the dream over and over and over as I was waking up, brushing my teeth, trying to remember it. Of course, I didn't write it down. And now it's 12, 15 hours later, and all I can tell you is we were somewhere. So I don't remember what it was about, and I'm sure there was a message in it, which maybe it'll come back tonight. So if you're in a group that's doing, especially now, there's so much going on the planet. Oh, let me bring you back. Let me bring you guys back to base. Here we go. I've been stressing, I think this is almost the 20th podcast. I've been stressing inner dominion and sovereignty over yourself forever, starting now, or maybe you started before, and to not have to rely on the outer. And one of the examples I gave is there's so much going on the planet. We have to be able to go inside and get our answers. We can't depend on the news. We can't depend on the political players. We can't depend on our friends. Everybody has a viewpoint. And of course we can listen and we can learn, but ultimately we have to go inside. You know, even the COVID vaccine, what was it called? You know, that was a big decision for everybody to have to make, to whether to take it or not. And that was really an inner decision. And it was being pushed on people to make a particular choice. And that too needed to be an inner choice. I'll go there for a minute. If you are someone who knows that you are basically protected by God, and if you're someone who knows that you're going to die at your appointed time when God has designated it, and it's already designated, we don't know it, but He knows it, then you might consider, well, you know, of course I don't want to get sick, and everyone around us is telling us we're going to get sick or die or be on a ventilator. But then there are people who have a high enough and had a high enough consciousness to say, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to take precautions. I'm going to wear the mask. I'm going to stay away from crowds. I'm going to up my immune system by how I eat, what I drink, and I'll be fine. So even that really was a decision to be made inside. Now this is kind of radical what I'm saying, but we want to get to the point where we so depend on ourselves, that we so trust ourselves, that we make the best possible wise choices, and that we can kind of like push away all the noise, all the distractions. And we did meditate yesterday for 30 to a minute, which we'll do again today. So what I really wanted to do tonight before I stopped was to reread the prayer that I wrote for us for protection. And the reason I am so adamant about this is because I don't really see it being taught, and I don't see people focusing on it, because it falls into that category of it's against toxic positivity. Why are you talking about the devil? Why are you talking about the cow power, the cabal? We shouldn't even deal with it. We shouldn't even be discussing it. We shouldn't even be focusing on it. But the reality is that is the energy that blows out our lantern. That inner light, that inner flame is blown out by people who carry that negative energy, that evil, whether it's their total personality or it's just against one person. It doesn't matter. We need to protect our gifts and to share them with the world. I believe needs a very high level of protection, and it's our responsibility to maintain that responsibility, to initiate that responsibility. So I'm going to read that prayer because I want to keep the same. I want to. When you hear wanna, you know I'm back in the Bronx. I want to maintain this same prayer. So we talked about source, staying connected to God and not letting anything, anyone, any place, any circumstance disconnecting you from source. And for those who have already been disconnected from source, I hope you're open, I hope you're teachable, and I hope I have something that you can use to maybe go back inside and find that master that's just waiting for you. It's already there. It's already inside you. It's just about, do you want to go in and say, hi, I'm here. I need help. Lots of help. So, this was my prayer for protection, which came out of my experience. So, I've got our little candles here. And I have my little rock, my smile rock that I made. Okay. Right now, let me start differently. For the highest, and I'm adding the word holy, for the highest and holiest good, meaning not only the highest good, but the purest possible good. So for the highest and holiest good of everybody, right now, we withdraw our energy from any and all situations, people, and circumstances that have what? Harvested. That have harvested our energy. That which has been stolen from us and erected under their name and their energy field falls right now publicly. That our characters, our reputations are restored publicly. Any and all harm, negative thoughts, black magic, or any kind of negative influences that people conjure up, consciously or subconsciously, stop and be severed right now. And I do ask that no one hear me or see me on this podcast that uses anything I present for harm. And then I did add that this protection and favor that God provides His children not be given to phonies, to liars, to abusers, the holier than thou crowd, the better than thou elites, and manipulators, and anyone who claims to hold a spiritual mantle that they are not honoring fully. And I added narcissists, corporate narcissists, and political narcissists. And I think that was it. And I did share with you my personal intolerance of dignity and freedom being violated. So I'm just in this bubble of wanting to see myself and all of you free to be who we are, and to be around people, to attract people that are so secure in themselves that they relish our bigness and our boldness and our grandness, that they say, come on, a little more. Come on, give me some more, give me more. I know you can do more, I know you can do more. As opposed to the places that squish us and punish us for our magnificent lights and intelligence and beauty and brilliance and genius. There are so many geniuses walking around, I believe, on San Pedro and First Street in LA, many of the homeless. And this is throughout time. And so that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about tonight. And let's see. So it is my birthday Sunday. I usually don't celebrate birthdays anymore because of my lifestyle. I do try to get to the Cheesecake Factory and have my one piece of cheesecake. It's kind of my own little ritual. But I expected to be further along with the passion project, and I haven't been pushing it because there was more of a download for information. So I will definitely see you on Sunday. And maybe I'll even take you to the Cheesecake Factory with me. Wouldn't that be cute? It's very noisy now in the Cheesecake Factory. They're so noisy and the music is so loud. It makes me feel so old. I have spoken to the managers. I really have. Please, can you lower the music? But it's piped in, actually. So I have my little heart above my head. I am aimed. My arrow is aimed at the spiritual heart of God. And I'm going to do my best to share what I have with you, to invite you there. And if you get there better than me, bigger than me, grander than me, please take me with you. This is not about a one-woman show here. I'm not the spiritual teacher. I'm not the psychic one. I'm just another ordinary human being who wants to be spectacular in my gifts with God as my partner. I wish that for all of us. And so, I always have problems closing and ending, but I will say goodnight, and I think it might be time to say happy spring. I'm not sure. Okay, God bless everybody, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.